We all want to be perceived as somebody who can speak 4 languages and steal your man while doing it, all while keeping her silk press still flat from 2 months ago. And sweetie, that is not the case. One thing I know I'm super insecure about is how other people perceive my intelligence. Now we're gonna be a little bit vulnerable. I don't know why, but just like in my head, there's this perfect person who she's got laid edges, doesn't have a 4-week overdue haircut, she can speak 4 languages. I feel like I need to be that version of myself when I'm trying to speak, not really accepting the fact that that person just does not exist. Like, that's not who I am. I'm keji. I'm not this. That's just not me. It's not true to who I am. I feel like people think that I'm stupid because I don't know 100% of the words to everything that I'm trying to say. And then that makes me feel like I can't speak languages in front of these people, which makes my Swahili actually get worse because I'm not using it. So then when I do want to speak it, you see, it's like a cycle of like, bad thoughts leads to bad language, which like resets itself. It's just a whole bad mix. We gotta throw it all away. This all comes from a need to be perfectionist. It's crazy how much of our own self-worth we can put into trying to perform at such a high level all the time, especially when language learning is that learning. And for that to happen, you have to mess up. I can't tell you how many conversations that I've backed out of that I knew I could speak and I ran away from them because I was scared, because I was insecure, because I didn't want to be seen as dumb if I couldn't speak well. I think a lot of it comes from because of the fact that if I myself have associated the level of language being spoken to intelligence, and I also associate intellectual ability to self-worth. Bad all around. Don't do that. Do not copy. Return to sender. We don't want that. And the way I'm trying to kind of get over this feeling of if I don't perform well, they won't like me, is by trying to just decolonize the way I think about language. Your ability to speak a language and your intelligence as a person are not directly correlated. Just because my French isn't perfect, I'm not less smart. I'm not less intelligent, and I'm not less worthy above all else. So that takes a lot of unlearning to really accept the fact that your worth and your abilities aren't equal to each other, but we're trying. This insecurity is really personal for me. I'm attacking myself with this one. Not trusting myself. I hold myself back from conversations. I restrict myself, and I think that happens because I don't trust myself. I'm like, you only have 1 shot. So you're not gonna do it now. You can't do it now. You're not ready yet. I went to a high school that hosted French students every 2 years as a part of a foreign exchange program. I knew I could talk to them and I wanted to talk to them, but I didn't trust myself to do it. They flew all the way to the United States to speak French with American students. And what did I do? Stare. I looked at them, they looked at me. I looked at them, they looked at me. I was so scared of messing up my 1 shot. You have 1 shot to speak French. You miss it, you're done. You will never speak French again for the rest of your life. That's a wrap, guys, we're good. It created a real performance anxiety. Like, I hate to say it, but like, I felt like stage fright sometimes when I'd have conversations with folks. I thought, oh, I have to say everything right. I have to know what I'm saying before I would go in. Like, scripting conversations, like, that doesn't make sense. Life happened. One way that I've been able to really divorce myself from that kind of thought process is to track my progress. I record maybe once every 6 months myself speaking French, and I try and do writing as well. I journal a bit in French. That's been really helpful for me to see how far I've grown. I found actually recordings from my senior year of high school, and I found out that like I got a little better. Finding a way to track your progress helps you motivate yourself to be like, no, you can do this. You can have this conversation. You know why? Because you were so much better than you were a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago. Another way I'm trying to work on my performance anxiety is creating safer spaces for myself to fail. This might look like speaking a language with people who have an easier to understand accent, or speaking with teachers, speaking with people who are parents, those people who you know have a lot of patience. Because If I can't have patience with myself, I need to find some other people who will have patience for me when I'm forming my sentences so that I can kind of start to build that muscle in my language skills. And when I do fail with these people, it doesn't necessarily feel like failing, it feels like learning, which is what it is. The failure part is something that I made up. What I am doing is learning. So if I can't trust myself, I have to start putting my trust in other folks. So much of language learning is marketed to be this quick, easy, painless, 20 minutes a day type of thing, when in reality there are moments where it's really scary, it's really exposing, it's really hard for you to feel like you're getting anywhere. But I think that there's some solidarity in knowing that I'm not the only person who feels that way. Another insecurity that I don't deal with as much, but I know especially my parents have and other first-generation immigrants in the US, is an accent. Now, I live in suburban America, which means that any kind of accent that doesn't sound like Ohio is other. It's dangerous. It's bad. We don't want it. The name for it is actually linguistic discrimination or glottophobia, but in general, it's just basically like, oh, you hear an accent, you're perceived as lesser than in the general consensus of suburban America, which again, does it make sense? No. Do people still do it? That's why I kind of hate when people tell me, oh, your English is really good. Like, I'm a native English speaker. Also, did you expect it to be bad just because I'm African? Like, let's unpack that, sweetie. Let's talk about that. So many determiners of worth in America are determined by your accent that it's a huge insecurity, at least here, for a lot of English as a second learner speakers. I wish I could say that there's a good way to get rid of that feeling. There's no right answer to fixing lingual discrimination in the US because, baby girl, they're still figuring out race. However, I do think it's not something you should go through alone. So many people face issues like this, saying things like, wow, your parents speak really good English. Why would you think they wouldn't be good? I go to Ohio State, and there are a lot of international students, specifically from China. A lot of them become graduate TA and teach freshman classes. I just can't understand him, so I stopped going. So I can't tell you that this is an insecurity that you can fix within yourself. This is very valid, but I think it's not something to go through alone. My parents find so much more solidarity now when we go to a church where everybody looks like us versus before in the past when we had gone to churches where people were loving and caring but just didn't understand the issues that us as immigrant families, as first-generation American families face. And one of those huge ones is discrimination based on an accent. I'd love to hear about your stories and how you faced fears and insecurities while speaking a second language. I think it's really cool that on this channel we've kind of got like a little bit of vulnerability going, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below.